I've been super critical of anyone that was pro-abortion online, but I started to think about why I was so angry at people and why I came at them so hard. And so while I was laying down the other night, I started examining my own heart, they say. And as I did that, and as I got even quieter and really searched, I realized that I was the biggest hypocrite in the world. In fact, I had taken a lot of people's lives, either intentionally or unintentionally, in war in Iraq, Afghanistan. Like, for instance, one time, like just my orders with my team, indirectly caused people's lives to be lost. And like when I grabbed my buddy one time in a big firefight engagement, and there was a car just sitting there, and I grabbed him and I said, "Hey, watch that car right there." I pointed at the car. He freaked out. He had kind of those wide eyes, and he just turned and just spiderwebbed the entire window. And as we were driving by, I won't get too in details here, but I looked down in the turret. A voice told me not to look, whatever I did, but I had to look, like a car wreck on the road when you're going past. And there were kids in the back of the car, and I'll never forget the woman's screams and her pulling her own hair out. It was so bad. You don't forget that stuff. And so as I lay there, I realized that I was actually chasing other people down to make my own wrongs inside my heart a right, projecting 101. Nietzsche said, "Be careful when chasing monsters, for you might become one." But I say, be careful when chasing monsters, because you are the monster if you think about it, if you're vehemently chasing people down. And so there is redemption. I'm not the same person I was in my 20s running and gunning overseas. I'm not the same person in my 30s in the teens running and gunning. And I'm sure as heck not the same person I was last year. But this redemption only comes through two things: God's grace and mercy, and our own actionable steps that we decide to do starting today. Like when my wife came in a year ago and she looked at me and she was crying. She said, "I'm pregnant." And it wasn't an exciting thing. We weren't ready for this. It was a major surprise. So I had a major choice. Was I going to be the biggest hypocrite in the world and get rid of this baby like I wasn't ready at 44 years old, for God's sake? Or was I going to go ahead and man up and do the right thing? Fortunately, we did the right thing. And when I see my little son Jacob, now 8 years old, I see a story of absolute redemption. And there's redemption in all of our lives. But sometimes we got to lay down in our bed at night and we have to examine our own hearts, because in the morning when we wake up after being critical of others, we have to look at that hypocrite in the mirror, like I have done many times. I'm a work in progress. I'm not proud of the things I've done a lot of times, but all my love, and that's the message for today. Touch point.